This episode of Dat Game is brought to you by Netflix. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to netflix.com/Gamebreaker TV. Just found out yesterday I still cry at the Iron Giant. Don't judge me. Hello, Internet Magic Man here from Gamebreaker TV, bringing you another episode of Dat Game, Gamebreaker's official first look series. Today, we're taking a look at Darkfall Unholy Wars, the Sandbox MMORPG that just launched about 4 or 5 days ago on the 16th of April by the team over at Aventurine SA. Now, to be fair and upfront, the game is not free to play. You have to purchase the software, download it from their site at a rate of $39.95. You get 30 days for access in that cost, but if you want to continue after that, it is sub-based at $15 a month. You're going to have to make the call. All right off the bat, we'll do a little character creation. We've got 6 different races here. And as far as customization goes, it's basic sliders. Back and forth. There's really no moving the eyebrows, moving the nose, things like that. You're going to be picking from a preset list of faces. And to be fair, there are a bunch to choose from, but still would be nice to have a little more customization, a couple different hairstyles, and then of course you've got your odds and ends as far as facial features, eye patches, jewelry, all kinds of stuff like that. And it can get a little wild if you hit the random button or sit there and play with it a little bit, but you're not going to see the type of character creation that you see in a game like Ion. Now, you have 4 different classes to choose from. Each one has 2 schools inside of it. We'll get to the schools in a little bit here. Basically, think of it as 2 different talent sets, where you have 4 abilities in each set and 1 ultimate ability to cap off each set. You're going to be able to use both, but one will be your primary school set right here, and the other will be your secondary. The difference, you can still use the abilities in both sets, but you do not get access to the ultimate ability in whatever set you put as your secondary. So see here, we've got all 4 abilities, and we get our ultimate ability at the bottom. But in our secondary skills, we only have access to the initial 4, not the ultimate. And because there are secondary skills, they are under the influence of they might cost a little more of whatever resource they actually take up. They might have a little longer cooldown than if they were in your primary skill slot. But you do have some customization as far as what schools you can pick. When you get into the game, you can actually start picking and mixing these schools even a little more, where you're not stuck with the 2 warrior schools. You can take a warrior and a skirmisher school. Now, there are some racial disqualifications where you can't mix certain schools. Darkfall 1 fans may not like that, but hey, we're going to skip the tutorial and jump a little bit ahead. Now, we are at the first city, but we've skipped over the initial tutorial, which is just going to teach you your basics, which of course are WASD movement, hold shift to run, hold C to crouch while walking, that type of thing. Now, here's where the game starts to get a little different. This is not going to be a game for everybody, being a sandbox MMO with a primary focus on PvP and free-for-all looting. Already that's going to turn some people off. The original Darkfall, this being the sequel to it, was also that hardcore vein. And while Darkfall Unholy Wars is a bit more hardcore than most MMOs you see being released today, there is an element of it that is simplified. There's a few things that original Darkfall fans may just not like. In fact, they may think Darkfall Unholy Wars is a little bit more Care Bear, even though most MMO players are going to look at it as a little more hardcore than some of the things they're used to. The game focuses on being open world, sandbox, heavy crafting, heavy gathering, heavy clan wars, siege battles, PvP, ganking, getting ganked, stealing somebody's loot, not only from monsters, but also from characters. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Yes, I suck at PvP, and I got ganked, and it's on film, damn it. There's nothing I can do. Now, the map does feature a few different overlays to help you out, and these are kind of the Care Bear things that are put in here. We'll talk about the skill system, which Darkfall 1 players may have a lot of problem with. But you can throw these overlays on your map to give you some guidance and where some mobs spawn and things like that. Now, in a PvE sense, you can do just whatever walking around you want, killing some monsters with whatever weapons you've got available, and it doesn't matter whether you party up or not. Keep in mind that the entire world is PvP, but you will notice in the upper right-hand corner, just under my mini-map, we have a little green icon. You see, I'm close to the city here, so even though I'm walking around with a bunch of people and we're just killing some monsters and looting them and skinning the gravestones and things like that, my swings of my sword aren't impacting their health. While it is hitting them, since we're all green and close to the city inside the safe zone, nobody's taking any damage. Now, once you get outside that safe zone, no holds barred. Anybody can take on anybody at any time. It doesn't have to be one-on-one, no requests or anything like that. So you're going to kill monsters in the PvE environment to try and gain prowess points. That's your main mode of advancement. You get prowess points for pretty much anything you do. Killing monsters, gathering, any of the basic things that you're going to do, PvP included, any of the basic things you're going to do as part of gameplay are going to net you prowess points. You don't get quests, but there is a master list of feats that will send you off to gather. Gather one item, you get 1 prowess point for getting that feat. You can only get it once, but that's alright. There's tons more behind it. Gather 5 lumbers, prowess points, feat achieved. Gather 20 lumbers, pieces of wood, lumber, whatever. Prowess points, feat achieved, and on and on and on and on. The bar in the upper left allows you to take feats out of the guide and throw them up there and let them serve as a little bit of a quest tracker. Now, the game does you no favors as far as helping you realize where certain things are and what direction you should be going in most of the time, but you can at least keep track of the certain feats that you're after in the upper left-hand corner. And when you do achieve them, you'll get a notice across the top left corner as well. Over in the upper right corner, you can see the first number, and then the number in parentheses shows my available prowess points to spend and the total prowess points I've gathered so far. The way it works is you take your prowess points, so I'm going to do a little gathering here just to net us a couple, and you take those prowess points and you put them into any skill that you want, or any status that you want as far as stamina, dexterity, things like that. And that's one of the key factors that I think, at least, Darkfall 1 players may have a little bit of a problem with. You're going to like the system from the respect that it takes a lot of the macroing that was happening in the original Darkfall out of the equation. Whether or not this is the long-term balance solution, that we'll have to wait and see. But it does make the game a bit Care Bear from an hardcore original Darkfall player's perspective, because now you don't have to chop trees to gain strength and dexterity. You can do any task, get the prowess points, and spend them on any skills and talents that you want to. The only thing you can't use prowess points for is the actual crafting of items. You only level crafting by actually doing the crafting, but you will need prowess points to open up mastery crafting levels later in the game. Here's our actual strength, dexterity points. We could use prowess there. We could realign. I mentioned earlier, you can realign the talents and the different schools if you wanted to. And we're going to take a peek at all that right there. Let's close out of this. I want to show you the feats real quick. Here's your master feat list, which does have the ability to filter on certain types of feats. The UI, I'm having a hard time finding the damn thing. The UI is not the most intuitive thing in the world, and the icons are pretty small, so yeah. No, that's not... No. Get my icons back up. No. No, that's the skills. Now, I guess I should mention that while we're here. You pull your skills out into those wheels that you see at the bottom of the screen. Now, that also means the way the control scheme is set up, you'll have to click on Alt or hold down Alt while you click your mouse keys to use certain abilities. Alt and right mouse will do some things. Alt and left mouse will do others. The combat is a little bit challenging, and to be honest, obviously you've already seen the graphics aren't top-notch by any stretch of the imagination, and if I'm being brutally honest, the animations are quite terrible. So combat is a little bit challenging in that respect until you get used to the controls. I'm going to spend some prowess points here. Great, but I want to show you the feats list because there's literally tons of them to do, and you do have the ability to sort them by certain types, like gathering feats, crafting feats, PvP feats, PvE feats, that entire thing. Here we go. And now I can drag these out into that bar at the top that I had already mentioned for you. Yes, it does smack a bit of go kill this number of this thing and come on back, X and Y and fetching, and it's typical questing, but there's no quest masters or quest hubs or return points or anything like that. It's just natural gameplay, encouraging players to get out in the world, which is one thing Darkfall, the original, kind of struggled with, and two, attempting to do away with a lot of that macroing. We'll see how balance goes in the end. Once you get outside the protective zone, though, we mentioned it's all things are wild. Go for it. And so right now, I was trying to heal. This ass comes up, and he starts shooting arrows into my back. I thought I was okay. There were two people in front of me, and I kind of bowed to them because they could have torn me apart very easily. And I get killed. Now, here's a very important thing. When you get killed, you are going to get ganked. It's basically a finishing move, a head chop, whatever. And here's the deal. I'm now sent back to wherever I bound. In this case, the closest city, the starting city is where I'm bound. And I start my run back to my body. But chances are, he's already looted me. If your killer loots your tombstone once you're dead, they have the ability to take everything your character had on you. Gold, your armor, weapons, if you had anything, weapons advanced besides the starting weapons, they have the ability to take all of it. Now, it may flag them depending on certain situations as a criminal or things like that, but I didn't see any of that in my gameplay. Well, there you go. I'm about to get owned again. I didn't have any life there. If you want to check out Darkfall, check out the link below. This is Magic Man saying stay safe, and we'll see you out on the servers.